Okay. So the first thing you're going to learn is print. So first thing you have to remember is that Python is case insensitive language. Okay. Sorry, case sensitive language, not insensitive. Okay. You see this hash sign is used to write comments. Okay. So in programming language, comments are text which are ignored by the compiler or the interpreter. So the moment Python sees a hash, whatever text you write after hash is ignored, will not be read by Python. Okay. So you can write whatever you want to write. Generally, you write the program by date and all those information so that you know who has written it. Okay. And comments are great tool. See, what happens, let's say you are working on some complex logic, right? You wrote it today, and after a couple of days, after a couple of weeks, you will forget what you did, right? So comments will help you to recollect what you did, how you did. Okay. Same thing goes with, let's say, if I write a program and you have to work on it. Okay. So my intention, why I, chose certain way of doing things. So that's why comments are great and you should write comment. Okay. So for example, here, what did I say? I said Python is case sensitive language. Case sensitive means, the capital letter and small letters are different. So when you write print here, make sure that everything is small. 90% of the stuff, 99% of the stuff will be all small letters. Okay. Rarely we'll see something capital and we will discuss that. Now, print is a inbuilt function. Okay. We call it as inbuilt function. Two keywords. Inbuilt means something which is pre-written for us by the developers of Python. The people who have developed Python for us, they have pre-written the meaning of print function. Okay, so we don't have to define it. Later, we will learn to create our own functions as well. That's called user-defined functions. So functions that we will write are called user-defined functions, and function which is pre-built but by the developers, which comes with installation, they're called as inbuilt. Okay, so we don't have to get into the code of print. Okay, it's been written by the developer and we can use it. Function means it has some function or it does some activity for us. Okay, so what does print do? Print actually prints whatever you give inside it, prints whatever you give to it onto the screen. Okay, so print will print whatever you give onto your screen. Okay. Okay. So if I give 3, it will print 3 onto your screen here. If I give 3 plus 5, it will print value of 3 plus 5. Okay. So there's one more thing that you have to remember here is print. Okay. Sometimes will use its brain. Okay. Sometimes it will not use its brain. So if I tell you what is 3 plus 5, you will tell me 8. So this is very much like asking print what is 3 plus 5. So 3 plus 5 is 8. Now, same thing, I can do it in different manner. Let's say 3 plus 5. Now you see this time I have put a quotation around it. Okay. Quotation, okay, generally means, just give me a second. Yeah. So when you say 3 plus 5 in quotation, right? So what did I say? Quotation is, okay, later we'll see that this is how we give text. For now, remember that quotation is like repeating. If I ask you repeat after me 3 plus 5. Now when I say repeat after me, you will not say 8, but you will tell me 3 plus 5, isn't it? Whatever I say, same thing you will repeat. So quotation, okay, is used for repeating, okay, by print. So if I want to repeat 3 plus 5, okay, I want the output to be given 3 plus 5, it will give 3 plus 5. Okay. Now you see this. When you use any application, right? Any application, okay, whether it's online application, mobile app, or okay, whichever application is written by writing a software code. Now you only see what you see here. This is the user screen, okay, or we say user output, okay. When we use a website, we don't see the website code. We don't have to know the website code, okay. So what we write here on the top, okay, these are the code that we write, and the output of this, okay, is displayed onto the screen here. Okay, user will only see this. This is user area. So if you want to know, okay, if I deploy this, when you say deploy means you are putting it in real use. So when you deploy your program, what will users see? What will user? They are not going to see your code. These code are all hidden from the user. You are only going to see this part. Okay. So remember, print without quotation, it will evaluate. You're telling print, think, use your brain. And print with quotation, okay, you are asking print to display as it is. Okay. You can use combination of both. If you are using combinations, you have to separate them by comma. For example, if I say print 3, okay, I want to say 3 plus 5 equal to comma 3 plus 5. So when I say 3 plus 5 equal to 3 plus 5, and when you run it, you get 3 plus 5 equal to 8. Okay. How did we get 8? See, this part we wanted Python to print as it is. So this part got printed as it is. 3 plus 5, we want Python to think, evaluate. So Python has evaluated and has given us the answer. Okay, and these two components are separated by comma. Make sense? Okay. You have
Yes.
to be very careful to know when to use quotation and when not to use. Okay. Couple of things about quotation. Whatever you start with, same thing you have to end with. If I start with double quotation, I have to end with double quotation. You can do same thing using single quotation also. Okay, instead of double, I can use single. Python does not differentiate between single and double. And PyCharm is obviously intelligent. So see, I just changed first quotation, it automatically changed the last one. Right? So Python doesn't differentiate between single and double. Never ever. Okay. So you can use single quotation or double quotation. So whatever you start with, same thing you have to end with. That you have to remember. Okay. So this is about print. Now, let's say first I said to add 3 plus 5. Now I'm asking you to add 5 plus 5. Maybe in future I might ask you to add 5 plus 6, right? Now you can't keep going back and keep changing this number. Oh, 5 plus 5. Oh, let me make it 5 plus 5, 5 plus 5, 5 plus 5. Okay. Not a good idea, right? You have to change at multiple places. And what if I miss to change here? I changed everywhere else, but here I missed to change. So it says 3 plus 5 equal to 10, right? It became wrong. So that's the problem when you have to change multiple values. In programming world, whether you're talking about Python or any programming, any software code, you have to make sure that, okay, you try not to duplicate, repeat stuff. That means, oh, change everything to 5. Now, when I say change everything to 5, there should be one point where you need to change and everything else should change automatically. Okay, you have to change at one place and everything else should change automatically. That's how your program will be effective. Because let's say you have written a code today, and after 5 years, 2 years, if I tell you to change it, you will not know how many places you have hard coded. We call that hard coding. Hard coding means you have put the value, and if that needs to be changed, you have to go back and manually change it. So what we do is, instead of writing these 5 multiple places, we use variables. Okay, so variables are way to declare values. As the name suggests, it can change its value. So you have variables and constant. That means 5, 3, these are all constant, right? They have a single meaning. You cannot say, let's take 5 and assume it is 10. You cannot do that, right? Because 5 is 5. But I can say, let's take X and assign value 3 to it. Correct? Let's take Y, and that's what we do in mathematics, isn't it? We say, okay, let's assume X is 3. Let's assume Y is 5. Okay, let's assume Z is 10. Right? So advantage of using variables is that we have, okay, X and Y, which are referencing these two values. Now, if I have to perform same logic, same 4 line of code, what I'll do here, I will say print. First, I'll say X plus 5, correct? So X plus 5, X and Y represents 3 and 5, correct? So X is 3 and Y is 5. Now see, here I have not put quotation, just like here. Quotation means repeat, right? Non-quotation means solve, evaluate, correct? So we want to evaluate 3 plus 5. Now when you run it, you get 8. Now I'll tell you, no, change the value of 3 to 5. You change 5 here. So X, which was 3 before, will now be 5. And now when I run it, you see, you get 5 plus 5, 10. Okay, I'll pause here for 10 seconds. Let me know if you have any questions so far on whatever we have discussed. All good?
Yes, yes. All good.
Everyone?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe just close your eyes and try to recollect these steps for those who are doing programming for the first time. So, just try to take it, what we have done. So we have done almost 11 lines of code, right? Good job. Okay. Now, here, print 5 plus 5. Now you see here, okay, I want to print these values here, X and Y, okay? Now, obviously, I cannot use 5, okay? But plus is something that you have to use. So plus is here. And I will say X before plus and Y after plus. So what does this mean? This means I'm saying print the value of X, then print plus sign, and then print the value of Y. Okay. Now this comma will add a space automatically. So when you run it here, you see 5 is coming because we said X. Okay. X value is 5. So you get 5. Then we said comma. So comma here will add one space here between 5 and plus. Okay. And then between this 5 and Y, it will add one more space. Okay. And since we have Y here, okay, this 5 will be printed here. So 5 plus 5 is what this print statement will give you. Easy?
Yeah, got it.
Awesome. Now we have to do the next one. Okay. So let's copy this and we'll try to change it. Now 5 plus 5. So you know what I'll do? I'll copy this and I put it here. So this is 5 plus 5 followed by equal to. So you see X value, then plus as it is, then Y value, then equal to as it is, then X plus Y. Sorry, X plus Y. Okay. Now you see you got 5 plus 5 equal to 10, isn't it?
Yes.
And same thing we are doing with single quotation in the next line. So let me copy and paste it and we'll do single quotation here. Here also we will use single quotation. Perfect. Okay, you see, you get same answer. Now you tell me what value you want. You want 777? I will make it 777. Okay, you want 75? We'll make it 75. You change the value at just one place, isn't it? We just need to change the value of X and or Y. If you want to change Y, you change value of Y. And everything is automatically calculated and printed onto your screen. Isn't it? That's
Yes.
why we use variables. Okay. So some rules about using variable names. Okay. We call this as variable names. So there are a couple of rules that you have to keep in mind. Variables naming rule. How do you name it? First, it should start with an alphabet. Alphabet. It should start with an alphabet. Okay. I cannot say 5 equal to 10. Right? And it can have numbers. It can have numbers and underscore is the only special character that is allowed. Okay. So I can say something like this. Num equal to 10. I can say num1 equal to 101. Num1. Okay. So it is starting with alphabet. And after that, it can have anything. Okay. So I can say num1, n1, m2. Okay. Equal to 56. This is fine. Just the starting should be an alphabet. Okay. That's it. Apart from alphabet and numbers, you can only use underscore. First number equal to 56. You can use any variable names. You can use any variable. You can use num1, n1, m2, first number. Okay. There is no restriction on it because this is for us. X and Y is for us to refer. Right? For Python, it doesn't matter. Okay. Whether you write X or Y, it doesn't really matter. Okay. So these are called variables. Variable name you can define on your own. And it doesn't really matter if in my program I write X and Y, you can write A and B. You can write N1, M1, N1, N2, whatever. Okay, doesn't matter. What matters is this logic, right? This is what matters. So I'll give you an example here. Let's say I want to write a program to add two numbers. Okay. We'll write a program to add two numbers. Okay. So one option is I can say num1 equal to 45, num2 equal to 66, and I'll say print sum of two numbers is comma num1 plus num2. So what did I do? What did I do here? I assigned two variables and I have given values to them. So I said num1 equal to 45, num2 equal to 66. Now when I'm printing, so see, I'm extending the first logic that we discussed here. I'm extending this logic. I'm extending this logic, no, this one. Okay, I'm extending this logic. What is this logic? It says quotation. So whatever you put in quotation will be printed as it is, right? And then followed by the evaluation. Because we did not put in quotation, it is evaluating it. Okay, and we will get num1 plus num2. So when you run this program, okay, you see sum of two numbers is as it is. This text will never ever get changed. And this output is obviously based on the values here. If you change the value of n1, n2, num1 and num2, of course, this will also change automatically. Clear so far, everyone?
Yes, yes, okay.
Okay. You can stop me anytime, guys, okay?
Yeah.
But have your eyes onto the screen, please understand. Now, let me do same thing in a different way, okay? So, I'm going to copy this. And what I'll do, I will say x equal to 45, okay? Y equal to 66. And here, I'll say x plus y. Next, I'll do same thing in another way, third way. Here, I'm going to say no space. Okay, and here I will say, okay, and I copy this here, and I'll copy this here. Okay, this name might look confusing to us, but not to Python. Okay, this is not confusing to Python. Okay, Python will know what you're talking about. Now you tell me, we have done same program three ways. Let's call this as P1, program 1, program 2, and program 3. Okay, you tell me which out of these three you think is a better way of doing program. All three are correct. For Python, doesn't matter. Okay, it's not wrong. Okay, but from human perspective, from your perspective, which one do you think is a better way of doing program?
First or second one?
First one.
Yeah.
And why do you think so?
It's we have assigned variable num1, num2 some random numbers. We
Correct. We
can
have the
change
same
it
thing here also, right?
afterwards.
Random number here also, here also.
So third one looks like something long statement when we're assigning with human perspective.
Okay, so yes, answer is right. First one is the preferred way. Okay. Now, second and third is also doing same thing. But what happens is, first one, okay, this is not confusing for Python. Okay, but this is confusing for us, right? This has no meaning, isn't it? So
Yes.
for Python, doesn't really matter. What would you say? We said that you can put any variable name, right? It just should have numbers and text. That's all. It has text and numbers. That's it. So, okay. But when you write, okay, it should not be confusing. Okay. So that's why this rule out. And here this x and y is simple. But this is also rules out because, okay, you know, you say x plus y, but what is x, what is y, right? It does not give a good meaning. Okay, so generally, okay, the good practice is that you use what we call as mnemonics. Mnemonics means the variable name should give you, the moment you read the variable name, you should know what you're talking about, right? You should know what you're talking about. For example, I'll do another program, okay, and I'll say write a program to calculate area and perimeter of a rectangle when their sides are given. So their sides are given and we need to calculate. See, every program, whether it is one line program or 1000 line of program, will have three components. Okay, so when you are writing program, just try to break your program into three parts, three component. We call it as input, process, okay, and output. So we say input, process, and output. What is input? Input are the numbers that you need to do your job, right? If I say, okay, we are meeting tomorrow for the class. We are meeting for the class, great. but you need some information before you meet in the class. What is the Zoom link, right? What is the Zoom ID? What is the Zoom details? Because without that, you can't enter into the class. Okay, you need address to reach to the classroom. So what is the address of the classroom, right? So to perform any activity, you need first input, right? So for example, in this case, if I need to perform perimeter, if I need to calculate perimeter and area of a rectangle, I need to know the length and breadth. So your length and breadth are input. Okay, so that's one. Okay, so whenever you are asked to do a program, think in your mind, okay, what is the input here? Okay, what should I take input as? Okay, so input is your sides here, length and breadth. Okay, so try to break it into these three components. Okay, then next step, what is process? Process is the logic that, the that's why you've been asked to do it, right? Okay, if I can process it, I would not use a program to do that. I can't process, I need computer to do the calculations, the heavy work, the logic. Okay, the calculation is your process. So in this example, area is calculated as length into breadth, right?
Yes.
So this is called process. Perimeter is your 2 times, right, length plus breadth. Okay, so 2 times length plus breadth, that is your perimeter. So this is why you are using computer. If we are able to know without this calculation, then we would not use. So process is exactly the reason why you are using computer. Okay, we want computer to calculate these two values for us. Great. Now output, presentation is also important. Okay, if I display, okay, so let's say this length equal to 52. This is what I meant by mnemonics. So when you are using variable name, you can use anything. You can take x1, you can take y1, you can take a, you can take l, you can take z, right? Anything you can take. But if you take length, the reader, the person who's going to read your program in future, okay, your colleagues, will be able to understand what you are doing. Oh, okay, this value represents the length of the rectangle. You don't have to write, just by putting a good name here, but just putting a proper name to the variable, where for computer doesn't matter. Okay, so it's not always for computer, it is also for yourself, right? If you write XYZ, okay, after 6 months, when you come back and relook at your own program, you'll forget what is X, why did you use X, what does X represent? Gone. Oh, length. Length means, okay, this is the length of the rectangle. Obviously, right? When we are calculating area and perimeter, so length, when you hear, it means it is length of the rectangle. Similarly, I'll use breadth. Let's say breadth is 31. So breadth is 31. Okay, so now I need to cancel this. These are your input. Okay, now I'll process. So to process, since I have to calculate two values, I will say area equal to length. Now you see, one option is I can type length, right? But do not try to type, okay? Why? Maybe you can make spelling mistakes, right? You can make spelling mistakes. Let's say I forgot to add E, I'll say NGTH, okay? And then I'll say red. Now when I run it, it'll give error, okay? Okay, because it says length is not defined. So it doesn't know what length means. See, with this without quotation. Without quotation means you want Python to interpret, but it is not defined. First time I'm saying, okay, use X, add X, without telling you what X is. Okay, I'm saying multiply with LNGTH without telling what exactly LNGTH is, right? So computer is confused. Okay, you get error. Okay, so error is called name error, and we'll talk about different types of error when we get into exception. But for now, see, it says name length is not defined. Did you mean length? Okay, see, Python is intelligent. It tells you where or what you could have made, error. So best thing, as I said, is you start typing, okay, and whatever editor you are using, IDE, not the basic a Python prompt, but if you're using any IDE, it will give you suggestion, LENGTH, okay? Then you select from your up and down key and hit enter, okay? There is no way you can make spelling mistake. Make sense?
Yes, yes.
Okay, use that, okay? Because, okay, or worst of all, you copy and paste here. Select, Control C, Control V, okay? You don't want to, okay, type every time. One, it's going to waste your time, right? It may be couple of seconds, but yeah, it is couple of seconds over 1,000 lines of code. It is significant time. So you will save time, but most important thing is you will not make mistake. Okay. So similarly, let's calculate perimeter. Now we will discuss about these calculation steps. Okay, maybe in the next session on Monday. But I think basic plus and minus you guys should understand. Perimeter
Yes.
equal to 2 into simple bracket. Okay. Now when we give simple bracket, because you know BODMAS rule, right? If I don't give, then length will be multiplied and breadth will not be multiplied. So I'm giving bracket here, and what I'll do, I will simply copy and paste this. Okay, I don't have to type it again. And this into, I should change it to plus. So process is done. You have area and perimeter. Now comes the output. So for output, you can simply say print area, comma, perimeter, right? And when you run it, it tells you it is 1612 and 166. Great. But 160, you get these two numbers onto the screen. But you are wondering, what is 1612? Is it area or is it perimeter? Yes, correct? So
Yes.
the output should also be user friendly, because that's what, see, process is inside your program. Okay, the user will not see the calculation steps, right? What user sees is just the output. Okay, and you have to spend time in trying to format the output in which it is easier convenience for people to understand. You must have booked a ticket or train ticket or bus ticket. Let's say you book your ticket, and let's say all the information is displayed in one single line. You don't know what is your age or what is your seat number, right? If it is 26, you'll be wondering, 26 is my age or is my seat number, correct? So you do not want to just print like that. Okay, you have proper, like, name colon, age colon, your date colon, seat number, time, all those information are clearly marked so that you don't get any confusion. So when you write a program, you should also make sure that output is like, very user friendly, because your user is only going to see the output. They're not going to see the input or the process. They're only going to see the output. So you have to make your output easier, better for people to understand. So in this case, something like this should be better. Okay. Area of the rectangle is area. Okay. You can put it in the same line, or you can go to next line. And the perimeter is perimeter. Okay. Now when you display, it makes more sense, right? So the user will understand, okay, area is 1612 and perimeter is 166. Okay, so you should focus. Output is the simplest of all. Okay, input also have to think, oh, how many input I need, what all input I need. Process is the most difficult part, because that's where you have to use all your logic. Output is the simplest part, answer is. But then, okay, it is simplest to calculate, it's simplest to do, but it is difficult because when you look at some website, some websites are very user friendly. You love working with website. Some websites are very difficult to work with, right? you don't know where to click. Now, nobody taught you to use Amazon.in website, right? Or Flipkart.com. Nobody taught us. The moment we log in, we know, okay, this is where you have to search for product because you see a big search bar. Oh, this is where I need to log in. This is where I need to add to cart. This is how nobody taught you. There's no user manual. Why there's no user manual? Because the output that you see on the screen is very user friendly. Anybody, okay, whether it is 10 years or probably 10 to 15 years or more smarter than us these days, okay, or even a 50-year-old should be able to use the website, right? So when you see, it also depends upon your target audience. Now, for Amazon and Flipkart, it is very difficult because their audience are everyone, right from 5, maybe not 10-year-old, maybe 15-year-old to 50-year-old are the target audience, right? So they have to design such a way that everybody understands. Some of them are intelligent, some of them are educated, some of them are not educated, some of them do not understand, or they have never studied, like uneducated, totally illiterate. Everybody should be able to use, right? So there's a big challenge for their team to design the output. Okay, I'm not talking about the complexity. Complexity is different, but the what you see onto the screen. Okay, even illiterate person should be able to know. Just you see the search icon. Oh, okay, this is search icon, magnifying glass. So this is where I can search. You can search using voice. Then okay, so output is also important. All these three steps are important. Input is where you have to think because let's like going for a trek, right? If you go for a trek, probably trekking is the easiest thing to do, right? First is the planning. What all things you need to carry? To carry water bottle, you need to carry food, you need to carry torch, you need to carry a stick, maybe. So what all you don't want to do over carry because that's a weight on your back, right? Okay, let me take everything. Let me not think about it. No, you can't do that. You can't take truck along with you to trekking, isn't it? You have a backpack, so you have a certain weight that you can carry. Lighter the better, isn't it? So minimum things, but which are really required. You don't want to miss on that, right? You don't want to miss on water bottle, isn't it? So that is important decision that you are making. Same way here, we talk about input. This is the decision that you are making. Okay, this is important decision that you are making. Then the process, which route, okay, which way we'll follow, okay, how will we go, what time we'll go, right? So this is about processing, okay. We should track in so and so area. That is also important. Finally, output execution. What as I said, okay, easiest of all because you have already planned, you have already have everything that is required. You just have to do it. But just doing it also very difficult, isn't it? Okay. So similarly, okay, any program that you think of, break it into 3 parts, guys. Input, process, output. What do I need? What do I need? Take all the things that you need. Okay. For area, okay, for calculating area and perimeter, I just need the size of the rectangle. I don't need, oh, which country this land is, okay, which city you have this rectangular plot, right? No, right? Because we don't need to know city, country to calculate area and perimeter, right? If you want to evaluate the value of the land, then probably you need to know pin code or whatever. But at least for calculating area and perimeter, you don't need. So you don't ask for those information. You ask only the information that you need, length and breadth, that's it. Okay. Even if they give you, say that, okay, I bought a rectangular plot in Hyderabad. Okay, ignore that. Hyderabad is not important when you want to calculate area and perimeter. Okay, so this is how you have to approach a programming. Okay, I'm going to give you a couple of assignments today. Now, I want you to have an approach same way as I have here. Okay,
So,
try to be more. Yes.
so in the output, how we get to different lines? Like you have
In the
made it
output,
in
how do we get what? Sorry?
means I have to print in two different lines. So then what I have to do?
Print into different lines.
No, in
So,
the same command.
yeah, you say here print, right? And you remove and because you're printing in same line. The perimeter is, now you'll get into different line.
Okay. Okay.
Correct?
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So questions for you. Try to do that. Okay. WAP, write a program. Okay. Write a program to calculate area and circumference of a circle when radius is given. Okay. Second program is write a program to write a program to calculate perimeter of a triangle. I'll just give you perimeter. Triangle whose 3 sides are given. Okay, simple one. Okay, so yes. Now, few things I want to talk about. Basic thing. Okay, before we get into more explanation. See here. All these lines of code that I have written, everything starts from very first position, isn't it? Now, here I can give space. You must have seen somewhere I'm giving space. Okay, somewhere I'm not giving space. Here, see, I have not given space before plus or after plus. Here, before plus and after plus, we have given space. Okay, it doesn't really matter. Okay, Python, Python is intelligent enough to know that, okay, even though we have given 5 spaces here, it knows that you are trying to calculate. Okay, so there's no rule as such here. Whatever is convenient for you, whatever looks good to the eyes, okay, you need to follow. But you cannot give a space here. This is immediately going to throw error in Python. Indentation error, we call it. Okay. Each and every line. Now, there are some exceptions we will learn when we go there. But for now, you remember that each and every line should begin from 0th column, very first position. Very first position. Okay, this piece should be written at very first position. I cannot give space here. Later I can give space, okay? That's not a problem. I can give space before, after, equal to, plus, all those things is fine. But you cannot have space in the very first position. You cannot have space in the very first position, right? So this is what you have to remember. Okay. Second thing, okay, this is called indentation, right? Indentation, when you see indentation error, whenever you run a program and if you see indentation error, it means that you have not used indentation correctly. Spaces, indentation is the blank spaces that you write before writing your first character. Okay, first character, whatever space you give before, that is called indentation. Okay. Next thing is, okay, we generally call it as logical and physical lines. Okay. Now, what I have written here, okay, let me go to the last line here. Print and print. Okay. So since I'm writing print from different line, it knows that I need to print output in 2 different lines. So you have area in one line, perimeter is in another line. Okay. Now, what you can do here, I can bring this here. Now, physically, it is still 2 different lines, but just, you are putting them in one line. So if you're putting them in one line, there has to be a mechanism to tell Python that, oh, Python, though I have written in same line, but these are 2 different lines. Treat them as 2 different lines. So we put semicolon. Semicolon, usage of semicolon is mandatory in Java, C, C++, and all other languages. But it is not mandatory. It is there. It's not that it's not there. It is there, but it's not mandatory. It's not mandatory to use it in a, in Python. But if you are clubbing 2 physical line, which are supposed to be 2 separate line, okay, into same line for whatever reason you want to put them together. So then you have to use semicolon. Okay. So semicolon indicates end of the line, right? So if I run this here, you see you get area of rectangle is and the perimeter is. Okay. You can put semicolon here. Okay, you can put semicolon here. It does not give you error. Okay, just that it is not required. It is required when you want to club two lines together. Okay, but it will be treated as if you have given in two different line. Okay, it's not going to add these, and we will see how to add this if we have time today or on Monday. We'll see. But for now, you see, okay, this is how you actually use and use these two things. Make sense, everyone?
Yes, Swapnil.
Okay. So this is about plus, sorry, I mean, not plus, the semicolon thing. Okay. We also need to, first we'll talk about different data types. Okay. And on Monday, we'll talk about formatting. Okay. So we'll start with formatting. We can see, how we can handle this output in a better way. Okay. Formatting is only for output. Okay. So it is important. We'll do it on Monday. Now we'll focus on next topic, which is called data types. Okay. Now, data types are important as the name suggests, right? Data types, type of the data, okay, is important because depending upon the nature and type of data, you will be using it for a certain action, certain operation, certain use, okay? If I tell you add two phone numbers, okay? Now, adding two phone numbers, does it make sense? It doesn't make sense, right? So you'll say me, why do you want to add two phone numbers, right? I mean, it doesn't make sense. I mean, each number represents something important. But if we add them, that becomes not usable to us. So when I say it is, when I give you two numbers, I say, oh, these are two numbers, you add them. You will add them. But if I tell you these are phone numbers, then you ask me, why do you want to add phone numbers, right? So nature of the data tells us what activities you can perform. Okay, so we're talking about basic data types, and this is important topic. We will pick up things as we go along. Okay, we will slowly learn more about other data types, but for today we'll talk about basic data types. And in Python we have 5 different types. Okay, 5 types. Okay, each representing a different set of data, different kind of data, different types of data. The first is called integer.
Teacher.
Without our knowledge, we've been using this. Okay. Without our knowledge, we have been using this. This is called integer. So when I say length equal to 30, so I'm saying the length value is 30. Okay. And now if I want to know the type of data this length has, okay, I have assigned some value to it. I want to know what type of data length is carrying. Okay, so we say print type of length. Okay, let's spend some time here. Print is a function. How do you know? Because we've been doing this. But you know print is a function because you see this, there's a simple bracket open and close here, right? So when you see simple bracket followed by any name, see, that's how you differentiate between a variable and a function. We have used both variable and function so far. How do you differentiate between variable and a function? Name wise, same rules applies for variables also, same rule applies for functions also. Okay, there's no different rule for function. How do you know they are different, they are function or variable? Variable will exist independently without any bracket, close or open, anything like that, right? But your function will have bracket open and bracket close. So when you see bracket open and bracket close, that means you're dealing with a function. So print is a function, great. What is type? Type is a variable or a function here? Hmm? Tell me fast.
Type is also a function.
Sorry,
It might be a function.
it is a function,
Yeah.
yes. And how do you know?
It has a brackets open.
Exactly, you're right, right? We have put bracket after type, simple bracket after type. So type is another function. So we are learning second function of the day, type. Okay, type function. Okay, let me put it in different line. Type, the moment I say bracket open close, it means type. Okay, gives the type of the type of the type of the data that is in the variable. Okay, so when I say type of length, it'll tell me what is the type of the data which is in length. So length has 30. What is the type of 30? And answer that you get, you need to print it onto the screen. Otherwise, how will you know? Right? If you want to use it, but you don't want to print it, you know, type is enough. But I want to see it on the screen. I want user to see the output. Okay, I want to see the output. So that's why I'm saying print. So when you have function inside a function, now see, type is inside print. You can have any levels of function inside function. That means you can have print, inside print you can have a type, inside type you can have, you know, another function, inside that you can have another function, another function, another function. You can have function, inside function, inside function, inside function, so on. When you have function inside function, okay, we need to evaluate it. Okay, we need to evaluate it from innermost to the outermost. From innermost to the outermost means first innermost function is evaluated, then the next outer, next outer, next outer, next outer, and finally the outermost. So luckily here we have only two functions. So first we will evaluate type. Type tells us what is the type of data that is in length. And that whatever it tells you, whatever it gives you, that we want to display onto the screen. So we use print. So first type is called and then print will be called. And now when you run it, you see it says class int. Okay, everything in Python is treated as class. Okay, what does it mean? If you know, very good. If you don't know, don't worry. We will discuss when we go to class. I don't want to discuss a lot of things in the beginning itself. Okay, so for now, until we go to class, for now, you forget what class is. Just remember the integer. Okay, integer is the data, okay, which stands for, int stands for integer, okay, which means, you know, number without decimal values. Okay, so when you have a number, okay, and you don't give decimal values, like 5.5, it has decimal value, so 5.5 is not integer. 5 is integer. 5.0 is not integer. 5.0 has an integer, sorry, decimal values, right? So 5.0 is not integer. 5 is integer, 5.0 is not integer. Minus 10 is integer. Minus 10 is integer. 0 is integer. Okay, so it means both positive and negative numbers. Minus 10, minus 50, minus whatever, you know, 0 plus whatever without decimal are integer. Okay. Okay. So what I'll do here, I will write some text here saying type of data equal to. So type of data is as it is, and then followed by the actual value that is being returned by the type, which is class int, and int stands for integer, right? Okay. Now let's take another value here. Now we said that decimal value, right? So second numeric value. So now I say breadth equal to, or I can use length only. Okay, why? We can reuse the variable name. Length equal to 29.8. Okay, now if I do, okay, let me copy this entire stuff. And now when I run this, what do you see? Float.
Float.
Okay, so float means decimal values. Okay. So float represents decimal values. So if you have to deal with decimal values, we say we use float like 29.8. So remember integer, which is int actually, int, float. The third numeric type, and probably the last time we'll be using here. Okay, just a second. Okay. So yes, so length, okay, is float in this case. The third data type we're talking about, okay, is called complex. Okay, so let me not use length, let me use some other thing. Let's say number one, number one equal to 5 plus 2, okay, j. Okay, and now, okay, I will copy this part and I'll say number one. You see, it is complex. This is not important for our study, okay? Probably this is the last time we'll talk about it today. We'll get back to it. Complex means we're talking about square root of -1 or negative values basically, right? So maybe in till class level, we discussed that square root of negative numbers are not possible, isn't it? But later you realize that no, square root of negative numbers are possible. In the graduation level, you'll realize. Okay, we call it as imaginary numbers in mathematics, right? We call it as imaginary numbers. Okay, imaginary numbers are the root of negative numbers. Okay, so real numbers, it's not a real number, it is imaginary number. Okay, real numbers are float. The imaginary numbers is that you have to imagine that there is a dimension which exists for square root of minus numbers. Okay, so in mathematics we write it as I. Okay, we represent it with I, but in Python we represent it as j. Okay, so j is like your mathematics I. Now 5 is whole number, integer value, but to the integer value I'm adding an imaginary value. So when you run it, you will get complex. Okay, now if I say, okay, now if I say print doing a calculation, okay, equal to, now I say here number 1 into number 1. Okay, what I'm doing when I say number 1 into number 1, I'm doing square, isn't it? 5 into 5, 10 into 10, right? So in this case, it is 5 plus 2j into 5 plus 2j. Instead of that, okay, better would be, let me put number 1 and will multiply 5 minus 2j. So number 1 is 5 plus 2j into, I'm multiplying 5 minus 2j. So it is like a minus b into a plus b. A minus b into a plus b, what's the formula? A square minus b square, isn't it? Forgot? A plus b into a minus b is same as a square minus b square. So what do we get output here? A square minus b square. So a square is going to be 5 square, which is 25. Minus. What is b square? What is b value here?
2j.
2j. B value is 2j, right?
Yeah.
So what is 2j square? 2 square is
4.
4. J square is,
J.
see, J is square root of -1. So what is J square?
1.
-1,
-1. Okay, sure.
right? So
Yeah.
4J square is going to be -4J. Okay.
Yeah.
So 5 minus of minus is going to be plus. So you get answer as 29. But since we started with an imaginary number, we have to get imaginary number only. Since we started with the imaginary number, our output also will be an imaginary number. So it becomes 21 plus 0J. Okay, there is no J value, but still we have to add because we are dealing with imaginary numbers. So if there is no decimal value, we put 0.0, isn't it? Similarly, we
Yes.
have to say 0J. So now if I run this calculation, you see, this is what we got, right? Oh, it's plus, right? Not equal to, right? 29 plus 0J. 25 plus 4, 29. And since it's an imaginary number, so you add 0J. Okay? And probably this is the last time we are dealing with complex number. So how many numeric data types that Python has? Basic numeric data type. Okay, but what we're dealing today is called basic data types.
Yeah.
So how many basic numeric data types we have in Python?
3.
3.
Yeah.
Integer, float, and complex. Okay. 2 more stuff we'll do and we'll end the day for today. We have something called as Boolean. Okay, which stands for Boolean. It is to represent 2 values, true and false. False is 0 and true is 1, on and off, right? Boolean, that's what we discussed first day, right? 1 is true, 0 is false. So let's say, like when I say val1 equal to true. Now you see, when you write true or when you write false, the first character is capital, rest is small. Okay, when you write this way only it becomes Boolean. Otherwise, this is like a text. This loses its Boolean property.
Yes.
Right? We are reading data types because there are properties associated with values, which we will do later. So Boolean also has some properties. But if you put this in this format, it doesn't need quotation. Okay, it is perfectly your Boolean value. You can have true or you can say false. And you can say print here type of data and you say val1. So see, it says Boolean. Or you can say false, it will still be Boolean. Okay. The
Yes.
next is text or string. This is string in Python. We don't say text. Okay. Text is represented as string. So see, today I'm just introducing these 5 data types. Okay. Slowly we'll practice and we'll learn more about it. But what you need to take away is whatever we have done so far here. Okay. This was the focus of today's discussion. So I want you to focus here. And next class again, we will take this forward. Okay. So just understand that there are 5 types: integer, float, complex, Boolean, and string. String represents text. And before the beginning, right, of this today's class, I told you, how do we represent text? In quotation.
Quotation.
Correct. And it can be single or double. And when we do, we'll have a separate discussion on string. Okay, after a few classes, there we'll see that even triple quotations are also used, triple quotation. Okay, but it has a slightly different meaning. We'll talk about it later. For now, let's stick to just single and double. So if I say name equal to Sachin Tendulkar, right? So this is your text. So whenever you want to give some text as input to the program, you need to give it as string. So now if I say type of data, okay, type of name, right? Name is my variable name. I want to know what type of data this variable name has. str, string. Okay. So these are the 5 basic data types. We'll stop here. Okay, since we are new to programming, I don't want to discuss too many concepts. We'll stop here. Okay, just revise. I'll put this program. Just revise these programs. I'll also share the link. Okay, let me pause the video.